Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Pigskin. I'm your host, Scott Morgan up from Motor City Madmouth. And what do I have for heavyweight thoroughbreds? This is my team, and I'm proud of them. First of all, I have Ed McAndrew. Welcome back to the big show, Eddie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And we have our statistician, Candy Ebling. If there's a stat, she'll find it.
Love being on this show with all you fine gentlemen.
And we have my running back, who's probably I'm working on getting him some more support in that backfield, Mel Farr. But in the meantime, he doesn't mind carrying all the snaps. Mel Farr, glad to have you back, Mel.
Great to be back.
And last but not least, I have Jeremy Ballrick in the house as well. Jeremy, glad to have you on.
Glad to be here, General. How are you?
That's it, man. I like the name General. That's a good ring to it. I like it. I'll take it. Okay. All right, well, have a lot to get to today. We're going to be all over the map with what I have lined up tonight. And we're going to go back to the Miami Hurricanes. What decade of wide receivers was the best of the game? We all knew that they had a lot of good quarterbacks, but who were the guys catching the ball? We're going to break them down by decades. In the 1980s, you have Michael Irvin, Brian Blades, Eddie Brown, Randall Hill. In the 1990s, you have Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss, Lamar Thomas, Wesley Carroll. In the 2000s, you got Andre Johnson, Travis Benjamin, Leonard Hankerson, Roscoe Parrish. And then you also have Philip Dorsett, Stacy Coley, Braxton Berrios, and Mike Harley. All right, Eddie, what are your thoughts about this group?
I think the factory they produce wide receivers while they produce, the U produces football players. And, I personally, being of the older variety and remember watching them play. Remember Michael Irvin coming out. Remember Clinton Portis and all the guys down at the U. I think that 80s and 90s decade is just, it was a good year. It was fun to watch. We had, Santana Moss was a commander for a while. He's still around the area doing stuff. So, I think Miami back in the day with Irvin and those guys be tough to beat. But at the same time, if I could take any of them, I'd take them all.
Okay, well, go ahead, Candy.
Yeah, the one thing I like about the U is I've seen numerous of those that you've mentioned come back and support them during spring ball, on the sideline during games. Obviously, Michael Irvin's very big on the sidelines. Most every game he's there. Andre Johnson I've seen there numerous times. And then there have been ones that I'm sure are on the sidelines that I don't even recognize because they're not in a football uniform, and I recognize the guys when they're in a uniform. But yes, I do like I have seen they've produced some really good decades of wide receivers.
Okay, Mel.
Well, Miami didn't just produce wide receivers. Miami back in the day in the 80s and 90s produced football players all over the field. They had players. They had the best talent in the country, A lot of it lives right there in South Florida. They were recruiting that very, very heavily and very, very well. And a lot of the players, regardless of position, were extremely successful, whether it be O-line, defensive line, defensive backfield, quarterback. We know they've had some outstanding quarterbacks that have come out of the University of Miami. They just produce talent everywhere.
That's true, but I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
That's a good group of wide receivers. Michael Irvin, Braxton Berrios, just to name some of the ones that I already mentioned before. Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss. But yeah, you have to get quarterbacks to throw them, and you have some good wideouts as well. Jeremy.
Oh yeah, they've been some great wideouts that have played for the U. They used to be wide receiver U more consistently in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. They had a little bit of a fallout for a while, but they're starting to get back to that prominence again. And I think a lot of it has to do with coaching.
It is. One guy I hope that we'll see on that list eventually will be Xavier Restrepo. Well, obviously, his stats are going to go down amongst the all-time best. But again, he's in Tennessee trying to get his situation figured out as well.
He played 7 years at the U. Of course his stats are going to be there.
Well, all right. Okay, Mel. I get it. All right, let's talk about Hey, listen.
You get hung on a guy just like Pavia. You get hung.
Don't even go there with him. I thought we were on the deck. Wait. I thought we were over him last week, but you got.
That's great.
Never get off my back about him. It's very respectful. I saw this.
That's great. That's great, Mel. That's great. Don't let him forget.
This guy knows. I've been working with you. He knows how to stick it to me.
He doesn't have the measurables, the numbers. That's what's killing him. The numbers are killing him. I mean, he's not very fast, not very fleet of foot. I mean, might be sure-handed. He was a great college football player, Scott. I'm with you there. He's a great college football player.
Why are we bringing him up today? Why are we bringing Jacob Pavia up today?
One of the greatest ever to lace up to put on a Hurricane uniform, though. I don't know if he'll go down as the greatest ever or one of the greatest ever.
Well, I didn't say what he's going to do with the pros yet. Give the guy a little break. I mean, come on. His face is busted up. Don't bust him up there. But no, I know. Hey, listen, I know he's played there a little while. I get it. I mean, she's a damn good interview. Nico Molika's announced to use a factor of Eli football players 2006 out at the most. And guess what? Nico's making his South Florida Tribune Network debut on Saturday. All right, but Diego Pavia, you got to bring this guy up every show. All right, I can have it. I'm not even on the caffeine tonight. Maybe Diego Pavia is my new caffeine. At least according to Mel Bard is. All right, whatever. Colleges with the most players on NFL rosters. Let's go over some of the colleges and check in. TCU's got 20. You got Oklahoma with 31. You got Oregon with 35. You've got LSU with 40. We'll see how much longer that changes for a little while. Michigan with 43. You've got Georgia with 55. You got Ohio State with 56. Alabama with 60. Okay. Eddie, which one stands out to you?
Well, no, they all stand out as tremendous programs. But you did say Notre Dame, right? Because actually, because Notre Dame has 40 to 50, and actually Notre Dame has over 640 all-time college players with the most all-time NFL players. So just interesting. These are football producing NFL player programs, and that's what it's I think that's the selling point that the coaches make to the players, to the elite players, because what is it, only 1% ever make it to the NFL, but those elite players like the Nick Saban at Alabama, that's a selling point. We can get you there, and I think and that's why you see the bigger schools, getting the good players and getting the advantage, where the money is. And again, it's where the money is too, now with the NIL. So the elite players will be going there.
Okay, Candy.
Let's face it, that's a big recruitment for the coaches. Not only is, how many NFL prospects do we have, or how many NFL players do we have in the league right now, but how many have we produced in the past as well?
Right.
Let's face it, most of the guys that, if you're playing college football and getting paid NIL money, you want to get paid in the NFL. So it doesn't surprise me that the programs that have a long history, a lot of championships, are producing a lot of these. Doesn't surprise me. It makes sense, because to get to the championship level and to get to the next level, you got to win, because let's face it, if you're winning, that means you're good and you have the talent on the field, and that's what the NFL is looking for, is good, talented players.
Hey, Mel.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the schools that have the most players in the NFL. Those are probably the schools that are also the best recruiters too, that lead in recruiting each year, have the best recruiting classes as well. And so it's no coincidence that those are also the schools that are also feeding a lot more NFL players, feeding a lot more college players into the NFL. The one that did stick out to me is Texas Tech, because they really haven't been known as a powerhouse in college football, although they played well lately. maybe they're getting an influx of money there or something like that, and they're able to, they're doing a real good job on the recruiting trail. But that is the one school that stood out when you mentioned that list was Texas Tech.
You know what, Mel? I'm going to agree with you on that. I really am. Of all the schools, and that one clocked in at 20, caught me off guard when I actually saw that. Well, Mel, for every Diego Pavia you stick in my, I mean, you really hit a bullseye on that one, because you know what, Mel? With all due respect, man, that was the one that stood out to me. We all know you expect the other ones to produce a lot of pros, but that one I didn't. All right, Jeremy, finish off the topic.
Well, Mel was exactly right. These schools are all really good at recruiting, including Texas Tech, the one that he was surprised by. They've always had strong recruiting classes, like always in the top 10 to 20. So Michigan, Texas, Texas Tech, Georgia, Alabama, all the U, those are all going to be your biggest schools almost every year. Toss in a Clemson when they get a good recruiting class that comes out, and a couple of others. But for the most part, those are the main ones.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's talk about a trade that occurred about a year ago. I always like to evaluate trades, and I definitely feel like we can do it. But I want to talk about a trade that occurred between the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears. The Panthers would end up getting Bryce Young in the deal. The Bears got a boatload. They got DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Caleb Williams, Corey Taylor, Luther Burden III. Jeremy, what are your thoughts about this trade as you look at it at this particular time?
Long term, it may play out better for the Panthers. In the short term, it's worked out for the Bears. But at the same time, the Bears gave up all that to get DJ Moore, and DJ Moore is now a Bill, and the compensation they got back was a second and a fifth. I think they kind of lost that trade in the long run.
Mel?
We're revisiting the trade for the Carolina Panthers a few years ago. Is that the one that sent DJ Moore to Chicago that you're talking about?
Yeah.
And who got the better end of that one? Who did Carolina get? Again, I didn't hear that part.
Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah. I'm not much. I mean, when Chicago traded for DJ Moore, I really didn't understand it. But maybe I don't watch much Carolina football. And for what they gave up for him. Again, I don't know what his stats were, so I don't want to speak out of turn here. But I didn't understand the hype around that trade in the first place to get DJ Moore, especially at that particular time when I don't really think they had the quarterback position solidified. So I think that Justin Fields was still there, was a quarterback at the time when they made the trade. Although, I've always been a Justin Fields fan, I finally come to the realization that for whatever reason, he just doesn't see the field well. He just can't quarterback a team up until that point. And up until this point, he has not shown me that he can be an NFL quarterback. So, I mean, I would have to probably say it was a push, to be honest with you, because I'm not, Bryce Young hasn't done a whole lot. Matter of fact, he got benched in favor of who was it? Sam? No, he got Andy Dalton, the red rifle.
Yeah.
So, I'd say it's a push at best.
All right, Candy.
Yeah, this one's tough. I mean, obviously, the Panthers received the number 1 pick in 2023 with Bryce Young. The Bears received DJ Moore, the number 9 pick, 2023, the 61 pick, and 2024 they got Caleb Williams and the number 39 overall pick in 2025. So they got more people. And since we benched Bryce, I don't know that that really turned out really well for the Panthers. Yes, most of the people. I mean, obviously Caleb is still with the Bears, and he's doing good. But so I would say the Bears probably won.
What about you, Ed?
Mel made a good point. At first, I thought it would have been because they gave up so much draft capital for Bryce Young, and then Jeremy making the comment that DJ Moore is no longer a Bear. So part of that whole deal is it's kind of you don't have what you traded for him. I think it might be now more of a push than anything else than it was before. If Bryce Young was playing and or if everything had held true, I was going to say that Carolina gave up too much draft capital for what they got. But the fact that DJ Moore's gone, Bryce Young, I think it's really kind of a push, and it's going to be, Caleb went to the same high school I did, so I'm a big Caleb fan. But he's still, it's still questionable what he's going to do in year 3. So, and to see how these other picks find out. So I think we're at a push state in my mind.
You went to school in Pasadena?
No, high school. We went to high school together. He went to high school, same high school I did. He went to high school in D.C.
Okay.
He went to Gonzaga College High School out in D.C.
Okay.
And then he went to Oklahoma, and then he followed him out to USC.
Well, here's the thing. What you have now is a player where you got one player. Yes, I like Caleb Williams. A lot of it has to do with the fact he got Ben Johnson as his coach. But
Yes,
Bryce Young is still developing yet. This guy's taken a while. And I've always been a firm believer, okay, that when you're just developing in a while, and I once learned from a lot of people in the baseball world that there's a lot of different ways to evaluate a trade. Immediate effects, short-term effects, and long-term effects. And that's why I brought this topic up in the first place, is we can revisit trades a while back, and that's why we have the particulars that are involved. Bryce Young is still developing. Caleb Williams is probably going to set records in Chicago Bears history that have never been. Keep in mind, they've never had a 4,000-yard passer in that history, but yet they have a Super Bowl so far. So yeah, I guess you could say it's a toss-up, but I might give the slight edge to Chicago on this one. All right, well, you know what? We all talk about the coaching carousel in college football, but when did it really, 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 really start? I'll tell you when it really, really started was when going back to Oklahoma State. They lose to the Tulsa Golden Hurricane 19-12. They paid the Golden Hurricane $300K for the game. And I think that became the beginning of the end for Mike Gundy. Gundy's buyout at the time was $15 million. If he is terminated without cause by December 31st, 2027, which dropped to $10 million, if terminated without cause after that date. Well, let's move the timeline up a little bit. Mike Gundy was fired, 21 seasons he was at that time. And when you look at, he was 1-2 when he got let go. And he's age 58. He posted a 179 and 90 overall record. He was 12-6 in bowls, 3 Big 12 Coach of the Year honors. But that buyout didn't come cheap. So the guy coaching his alma mater did a pretty good job. What are your thoughts, Ed, about the termination of Mike Gundy?
Well, he coached for Oklahoma State. He was 1-2. I think some of it also was he was starting to irritate some of the fan base and the supporters with some of the stuff that I read. He had not kind of made the transition into what the college football scene was today, right, and with the NIL and stuff like that. Oklahoma State goes up against Oklahoma and all those other bigger schools. They want to produce winners. They want to get the best players, and they want to have the right guy in place. And if they're not feeling it, and you're ticking off the fan base and the boosters, right, again, it comes back to the almighty dollar sign. You're not going to get the dollars. You're not going to get the NIL. You're not going to get the great players. It's really that simple. So it's disheartening, but it's the nature of the beast.
Candy?
Yeah, he compiled a 170-90 record at Oklahoma State with 12 bowl wins, 1 conference title. At the time of his firing, he was the second longest tenured head coach behind Kirk Ferentz of Iowa in college football. He spent all but 5 of the first 40 years of his adult life in Stillwater as a player, assistant coach, and head coach. In today's day and age, you have to be more than just a head coach. You have to be able to out NIL, get the best of NIL, get the best players If you don't get the best players on the field, you're not going to keep your job. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
I think Mike Gundy was a great story, and probably the best thing that happened to Oklahoma State. And you have to, they were competitive in the Big 12, the old Big 12, when you had, you had Texas, you had Texas A&M there, you had Oklahoma, obviously, Nebraska. He was there and made them relevant. Oklahoma State, they haven't been relevant since Barry Sanders left there. I mean, that's the only person that you really think about when you think about Oklahoma State is Barry Sanders. Thurman Thomas, he was there as well before Barry. But other than that, you really don't talk about Oklahoma State as far as a football program. They haven't, Mike Van Gundy made them relevant. He made them interesting. He is a personality. College football is more about the coaches than it is about the players. Right. And I think he was a personality. He stood up for his players. Quite frankly, I was kind of surprised and shocked when he ended up losing his job. But the landscape is different now with the NIL, the way the conferences are realigning. And maybe they, the boosters did get tired of them. Maybe they believed that it was time for somebody else to deliver a message to that program. So, we will see. We'll find out here very, very soon, if this was a good move for Oklahoma State or if they're going to be wishing that they had kept, Mike Gundy there.
Jeremy?
Well, I agree with Mel on that. The way he stood up for his players is what stands out the most to me. I remember him coming up there when they asked the kid a question that was above his maturity level, and he didn't know how to respond. He goes, "Come at me with that question. I'm a man." I remember that. That was like a big viral moment. But with him not adjusting to the new college landscape, it was just a matter of time before this would happen, because those who do not evolve gets passed by. And I think the game had passed him by at this point.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say this. Maybe Mike Gundy needs a year or two to sit back, evaluate what this game is, because I truly think he's that good of a football coach. I really do, that he could land someplace else. And that's a great segue to where we're going right now, because our featured topic of the night is what college head coaches will be on the hot seat. I have 5 listed. I'm going to give you a 6th, Candy. You're going to research the 6th one, especially the 6th one, okay? And that's this. First of all, you got Mike Norvell, Florida State. I think the only reason why he hasn't been let go is because Florida State cannot afford to let him go at this point, but I think this year could be the year that they do it. Dave Aranda, Baylor, is a guy that better watch him. He needs a big year. And, of course, Candy knows about this guy. Luke Pickel, Wisconsin, make or break year for them. And then you got Michael Locksley of Maryland. And then the last one is Shane Beamer of South Carolina. Now, the one I'm going to add to the list is a guy that resides in North Carolina State named Dave Doran. Candy, I want you to get some numbers on this guy, but let's go around the horn here, Ed, and Candy will be last on this topic. Which one of these 5 do you think? Now, Doran's not listed on the list, but I'm going to go over some background on this situation. But let's focus on the 5 until Candy gets you background on the 6th guy, Ed.
I think it can be either. Did you say Bill Napier from Florida? Was he on your list?
Who?
Or was it the coach at Florida, Billy Napier?
Mike Norvell.
Oh, Mike Norvell. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he?
Who?
Napier. He's gone, isn't he?
Napier.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's gone.
Okay. He's okay.
That's okay.
All right. Yeah. I think. In the state of Florida.
I think they switched jobs, didn't they?
Who?
The 2 coaches. Did the 2 coaches switch jobs? I can't remember. Did Napier go to where the guy came from, and where the guy came from took Napier's job?
No. That was John Summerall going from Tulane over to Florida, but Napier, I believe, ended up going to. What's it, James Madison? I'm trying to remember. He's up in one of those schools. I don't know off the top of my head.
All right. So, I think I would go with the Florida State coach.
Mike Norvell.
Yeah, Mike Norvell, because it goes back to the whole thing with Florida. The state of Florida just is a very competitive football market. Miami, Florida State, even what is it? What's that other one? Not CFU. The other UCF.
Well, here, I'll go over the list again. You
How
got-
about UCF? I mean, you have a very. I think Mike Norvell is going to be. He didn't have the
Yeah.
big buyout. He would
I'm
probably
a-
been done.
Let me go over the 5 choices again because I probably went through them a bit fast. You've got Mike Norvell as number 1. Dave Aranda of Baylor is a guy to watch out for. Luke Patel, Mike Locksley of Maryland, 2 Big Ten schools, followed by Shane Beamer of South Carolina. Those are the 5, and Dave Doran is the one I added as a 6.
Right.
Is there? So I guess what you're telling me, Eddie, is you're going to go with Mike Norvell as your top choice. Is that correct?
No, yeah, or I'm going to go actually because I don't think because of his buyout clause, I think it's going to be too pricey to pay. I think my 1A choice would be Mike Locksley over at Maryland.
Okay.
He started strong, and they have high hopes for him. But then he finished 0-8, and now with they're starting the fire Locksley chance at College Park, and that's just up the street. I mean, not up the street, but it's close to me. So Maryland football is kind of a hot topic in our area. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him on a short leash.
I like Patty Grimes comments. I am a man. I am 40. That was good. All right, Mel, give me your take on that.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of coaches. Every year there's coaches on the hot seat because everybody thinks that their school should be winning. I mean, I think Deion Sanders is in a make or break year this year. I think his seat is getting pretty warm. But definitely the head coach down there at Florida State, I mean, they really wanted to get rid of him, but they just didn't, they couldn't find the money to get rid of him. Now, he did have one good year. He had that one good year when the quarterback ended up getting hurt, and they didn't put him in the playoffs. That was only one as a 14 playoff,
right.
And the quarterback ended up breaking his ankle or whatever the case it was in the championship game, I think it was the championship game in the ACC championship game. But yeah, we know his seat is hot without question. His seat's been hot, and it's been hot for a while. But there's a lot of coaches around the country whose seats are extremely warm because everybody lives in a climate where they think their team can win. There's only a handful. There's only a handful, let's be honest, a handful of teams that really could compete for a national championship. A handful of 10, maybe tops. Right. The rest of them, they're just, they're fighting over scraps. I mean, the rest of them are really fighting over scraps. But everybody comes in to the season, and most of these schools, boosters, they have realistic expectations. Again, we go back to, what is a college experience about? What are you hiring a coach to do? Are you only hiring him to win football games? Or are you hiring him to coach these guys up to be better than they were the day before and to be productive citizens in our society? Because not everybody's gonna play in the NFL. Not everybody's gonna make it. These guys are gonna go pro doing something else other than playing football. So what are we emphasizing here? I'm confused.
No, good points all the way around. All right, Jeremy.
I do think it's Mike Norvell because I think this is the year that cost gets a little bit better because now he's getting to the back end of that contract rather than the front end. So I think he's the 1A. And I'm going to say one you didn't mention, and it's the guy at Eastern Michigan right now that's just been failing with that team and not getting them into the MAC. I think that's a team where you got to watch also in Division I.
Okay, that's fair. The reality is Mel, he's right. I mean, Mike Norvell, obviously, I think it was more of a financial thing last year. Otherwise, they probably would have let him go for sure. So, and there's no doubt in my mind that I have a feeling that definitely could become the case. Let's go back to Oklahoma State because they've got 85 new players is what they've got. And
wait, Scott. Wait.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, Billy Napier is now the current head football coach at James Madison. Second of all, you wanted me to talk about Dave Doran.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead, Candy.
So, in his 13 seasons with the Wolfpack, Dorian has had 10 winning seasons and invited 11 bowl games. Last year, he was 8-5. The year before, 6-7. The year before that, 9-4. He is. Let's see. His overall head coach record is 95 and 70, and his annual salary is $5 $1.25 million.
And so my question to you is, how many 10-win seasons does he have, and how many conference championships does he have?
He's had 10 winning seasons in his last 13.
Yeah, 10 win. I'm talking about 10-win seasons.
He has not had one.
That's my question. 10-win seasons.
He had him when he was. Take that back. He had him when he was at Northern Illinois.
No, I'm asking what he's done at NC State. How many 10-win seasons does he have?
None.
Okay, that's how many ACC championships has he won?
None.
I rest my case. To be continued in July. That's all you need to know. All right, so stay tuned. It's going to get interesting. Round 2, the Motor City Madmouth against Dave Doran. All right, but I think he deserves to be on that list too. All right, so let's talk about Oklahoma State. We talked about Mike Gundy. They got 85 new players going into the year. 85, I repeat, 60 are from the transfer portal. This team is not trying to rebuild. They want to win it all this season. We're trying to write the same script as Indiana. And Oklahoma State went 4-20 and 0 conference wins in the last 2 seasons, which is probably why they got let go. Their quarterback is now Drew Mestiker. He's a transfer guy that they ended up having. So he's a guy to actually go ahead and watch. But that said, Eddie, they got 85 new players. How much success do you think Oklahoma State's going to have this year?
Honestly, that could be very much that. It could be easier herding a box of cats than doing that. With 85 new players, new personalities, and stuff like that, I think Indiana was a completely different situation. If they're trying to imitate Indiana, I'm not sure that that's exactly how. I know they only took about 15 from James Madison when he came, and
Right.
maybe a handful from the portal. You bring in 85 new players. It's going to be a tough task to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, Drew Mestamaker actually comes. His record, and he comes from North Texas, Mean Green. He had 319 completions in 463 attempts. He had 4,379 yards, 34 touchdowns versus 9 interceptions. He was sacked 18 times. So those are the numbers on him. And obviously, when you talk about the coach, it's just they're doing. They're starting all over.
And if you read it, they're not saying it's a rebuild. And I'm not sure if you have 85 out of 105 new guys on your team, how you can't kind of say it's a rebuild.
Candy, what are your thoughts about what Oklahoma State's doing?
So Oklahoma State opens their season at home against UT Martin, but then they go to Eugene to face the Oregon Ducks, and then they host Tulsa Golden Hurricane for their non-conference matchups. They have home games against Baylor, Houston, Cincinnati, Kansas State, Iowa State, and they travel to face Arizona, Texas Tech, Kansas, and UCF. Not the easiest schedule, so having that much roster turnover, depending on how they all gel and how they coach, that's really what matters, and how good their defense is. So it'll be interesting to see. That's not the easiest schedule.
No, I mean, Eric Morris has his work cut out for him the first year. But again, he took on this challenge, and we'll see what he can do. Mel?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed the question. I've got people text me over here. I'm sorry. What was the question? Hit me with it real quick.
Go ahead, Candy.
Basically, Oklahoma State has 85 new players on their roster. How do we think that'll translate to wins for their program this year?
I mean, I think it just depends on who they have as the leader. How did that work out for Indiana the past couple of years when they had all those transfers come over from James Madison and wherever else they took them from? Now, it hasn't really worked out well at Colorado. Then, constantly turning over that roster hasn't worked out very well. I see Kalen DeBoer. He's really not the 2026 class. I don't believe he's really looking at the high school ranks. He's going to be looking more in the transfer portal to as far as recruiting players is concerned. So it really depends on the mix of players that you get in there. I don't think all the players that were there were bad, but they were probably Gundy's players, and a lot of guys may have been upset with the fact that they let him go. And we're looking for greener pastures elsewhere. Some of the guys were going to leave anyway. Some of the guys, once they made the decision to get rid of the head coach, they decided to leave. Once all those people leave, what do you have to do? You got to bring a whole bunch of folks in. So I can't say how it's going to work out. We'll see how it plays out on the field.
Yeah, these Kurt Cignetti things they don't happen all the time. What happened in Indiana is unbelievable. But obviously, Eric Moore's going to have his work cut out for him. All right, Jeremy.
Yes, he has his work cut out for him, but as a brand new head coach with a brand new coaching staff underneath him and all those new players, you know what you don't have? Those players that have the bitter taste in their mouth because their coach was fired. So this might be exactly what they need to reset the mindset there in Oklahoma State.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. All right,
Absolutely.
all right. So no coach has ever won a Super Bowl with two separate teams. There are two coaches that have a chance: Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy. There you go. You have them listed there. I don't know what the background noise is, but I hope everybody can hear me good. Two teams, one ring. You have obviously Mike McCarthy, and you have Sean Payton. Which one of these two had the chance to do it, or will any of them do it?
Wow.
Yeah.
I have my strict opinion on this. I think the Broncos are way.
I'll let you lead off with this one.
I think the Broncos are way closer to being a Super Bowl team than the Pittsburgh Steelers, because the Pittsburgh Steelers are decided to bring back the 42-year-old known as Aaron Rodgers, who, if you actually look at it, he was better last year than he was with the Jets, but he was on a better team than the Jets. I mean, there isn't that much difference there. But he's gone from mediocre Mike to mediocre Mike part 2.
That's pretty good. I like that. All right, Mel.
Yeah, the Steelers they need to tear it down to the studs. I mean, they're really a rebuilding team. They're an old team. They're a very old team, and football is a young man's sport. And as much as we may love Aaron Rodgers is not the answer. They really need to try to find themselves a franchise quarterback, and they just really continue to kick that can down the road because they are going to have to do a rebuild here very, very soon. So without question, I mean, if you're looking at those two franchises, looking at those two teams, you're asking and I'm assuming the question is you're asking which team is closer to a Super Bowl. Obviously, if you're looking at Denver and you're looking at Pittsburgh, there's no question about it that Denver, I mean, you look at what they did last year and what they were able to accomplish. They had to tear that thing down a little bit. I mean, they found their quarterback. Sean Payton found their guy. They found the quarterback. They play great defense, and they're young. They're a young team. They're young on the defensive side of the ball as well. So, they're a lot closer, obviously, than Pittsburgh is.
Eddie Prater makes a good point in the chat room too. Drew Brees isn't going to carry him. He's right. Candy.
Yeah, but I agree. I think Denver's a lot closer than Pittsburgh is. Rodgers only won one ring in Green Bay when he was in his prime with the cast that he had. I don't see him as he has aged being able to do it in Pittsburgh. And therefore, and he's already said this is his last year.
Right.
So typically, I'm not going to say it's unheard of, but typically a new quarterback isn't going to get there. So I'm thinking they're at least 2, 3, 4 years away. Whereas Denver was how close last year. I think they're a lot closer.
Yeah. And before I turn over to Eddie, I'll go along with you, Ken. I think Denver was much closer than most people think. And obviously experience is going to help them out if they try to get to the next level. All right, Ed, close out the topic.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody's saying. I mean, the quarterback situation alone, Pittsburgh's going to have to find the person to replace Rodgers, Denver has theirs in place. It's just, I think Mel said it best. They got to break it down to the studs in Pittsburgh, and kind of rebuild that and figure out. And actually, if you look at it, the NFL is a young man's game. The younger you are, the younger your team is, the average age. I think the better you're going to be getting closer to that Super Bowl line as opposed to being above that average. If you're above that average, I think you've got a longer road to hoe.
Okay, well, let's talk about, is there something you want to add, Jeremy? Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I think it's a travesty they brought Aaron Rodgers back when they drafted Will Howard last year to be the heir apparent to him. And this man went all the way through the draft going, okay, we took a third rounder. That's a backup. I should be the starter this year. And then, boom, they sign Aaron Rodgers back and he's a backup again. That has to be detrimental to that kid's confidence.
Yes. How many years Aaron Rodgers sit?
3. But he knew he was.
And he was a first round draft pick.
No. Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers said he was going to retire. He said that, and then he comes back and signs with the team.
Brett Favre said the same thing.
No, Brett Favre stayed there, and when he retired, he came out of retirement and went to the Jets, then went to the Vikings. There's a big difference there.
Every year was talking about he was going to retire. He's the same going through. It was the exact same scenario. And how did that work out for Aaron? He'll be okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? It's Urban Meyer time. Because you know what? Urban Meyer has officially lost his arbitration case with the Jacksonville Jaguars as over his December 2021 firing. He was terminated with cause the franchise saved $30 million for this guy. You know what? If there's anybody that should have lost it, it's him. Urban Meyer, to me, I never met him. I ended up getting Daryl Bevell in the back end of the year. That was just with my Canes commitments. But Urban Meyer, to me, should never, ever coach again. He's probably smart that he doesn't. All he does is commentate. But I'm glad the Jacksonville Jaguars ended up winning this particular case, and Urban Meyer's out a boatload of money because of the way he constantly verbally abused his players, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, he lost it. It's, what was the cause that he got terminated for? Was this the little thing, that the picture that he got, or with the
he was drunk in the bar.
Yeah.
He was drunk in a bar in Columbus, where he was finger banging the waitresses,
Yeah,
it was after the game. He didn't go home on the team plane. He sent the team home, and he's out getting hammered. Talking to some.
No. You have a code of conduct. As you're the tip of the spear, you're leading the team. You're the eyes. You're the leader of the franchise, and you're holding the players to the same standard. I mean, it's good riddance to you. You broke the clause. There's the door. That's just
the phrase you're looking for.
Yes.
The phrase you're looking for is conduct unbecoming the shield.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm looking. Conduct unbecoming the shield. Absolutely.
Well, number one, his attitude toward players and the way he verbally abused the kicker didn't help matters any either.
Verbally, he physically abused him. He kicked him so hard he missed the first 4 games of the season.
Exactly. So why don't you go ahead and give me an update on that? Because everything added to it. Shad Khan doesn't fire coaches in the middle of the season that often. But Urban Meyer took Shad Khan further than most coaches could ever take Shad Khan. He's patient, this guy. Candy, you want to give us all right, Jeremy, pick up the topic from where we're talking about who he verbally abused. We know that the drinking incident certainly didn't help. And obviously, he hindered the development of Trevor Lawrence as well.
Yes, because he told him he was bringing in Tim Tebow as a tight end and then was giving him first team reps also as a QB in practice. Then he didn't just verbally abuse Josh Lambo, he physically abused him. Urban Meyer never should have been a NFL head coach. The way he was better suited to college, where you're not in the limelight 24 hours and 7 days a week.
And you cannot communicate with men that way. This is not
That's
college, it's the pros, and you're going to get buried and run out and eat dead, and you look bad doing it. All right. Go ahead, Candy. You have the last word. I think everybody else has spoken on it except Candy, right? Go ahead.
So Meyer recorded a 2-11 record during his brief tenure. His 13-game tenure is tied with Lou Holtz and Bobby Petrino for fourth shortest coaching tenures in NFL history. Holtz and Petrino were also making their NFL head coaching debuts after previously being a head coach in college. His 1.54 winning percentage is the worst of any non-interim head coach since Ken Cameron's .063 winning percentage with the Miami Dolphins in 2007.
That was bad.
It was. And we've heard things that the players did not like him. They didn't follow him. They didn't respect him. And I can see why. I don't blame them, and I'm glad the Jaguars won that.
Yeah, Urban Meyer to me is a disgrace for the coaching profession. Obviously, had a great college coaching career. His success in college, you can't really knock it. But his attitude, the way he handled himself in the pros, I think it really, in my opinion, if he had the legacy, it tarnished it a little bit there as well in terms of the overall body of work. All right, let's talk about every quarterback taken first overall since 2002. If anybody wants to add to it, go ahead. But yeah, you're shooting to managing Walmart, Toledo.
Let me read some of these. Urban Meyer cashed more checks that were unearned, undeserved than a Flint auto worker that didn't show up to work for 7 months.
Yeah,
Urban Meyer was a quitter in college when things started to get a little rocky at Florida and OSU. He ran away claiming health issues. Health issues, my behind. Urban Meyer is a coward. Urban Meyer was as suited to managing a Walmart in Toledo, Ohio versus his stint as a coach. He is a joke.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. The guy's won everywhere he's been other than Jacksonville. He just wasn't cut out for the NFL game. I don't believe he wasn't cut out for it. But as far as coached, I mean, the guy coaches behind off everywhere he's been. He won. That goes all the way back to what's the school he was at? The school he was at Ohio, Bowling Green.
Bowling Green, right.
Yep, Utah, Florida, Ohio State. I mean, all the guy did is win. He's like Kirk Cignetti. Just Google him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I was waiting for Mel to come over the Google line. Google me. Well, I mean, yeah, that truly has won, but I'll tell you that last act cost him a lot of money. And Shad Khan, like I said before, doesn't really fire people in mid-season, but he gave Urban Meyer, put him to a point where he had no choice but to do it. All right, now let's move on to the next topic because we're going to talk about every quarterback taken first round since 2002. We'll start with the most current one going all the way back. And I'm listing off names, and everybody can tell me who stands out. You have Fernando Mendoza, obviously, up to the Raiders. Cam Ward, who I think is going to be okay with the right coaching, and I like where he's going to be going there. So I'm always going to be a Cam Ward type of person. Caleb Williams is on the right track. Bryce Young, developing, getting better. Trevor Lawrence, well, obviously we saw a little bit of a sign that he was coming around a little bit. Unfortunately for him, he's had, 3 coaches in a short period of time. But Trevor Lawrence is by no means a bust. I think he's coming along all right. But Joe Burrow, I know he's great when he's not busted up. Cincinnati hasn't given him much to work with. Kyler Murray, well, his work ethic leaves a lot to be desired. That's why he's in Minnesota. And he's drafted by the Cardinals. Baker Mayfield could have done well in Cleveland, but now he's with the Bucs and he's doing all right. But Jared Goff, we all know about what he had a pretty good run in L.A. with the Rams, and he's doing fine with the Lions. Jameis Winston started with the Buccaneers, and he's managed to hang around the league. I think he's with the Giants. And you have Andrew Luck. That was unfortunate that he got injuries, knocked him out much earlier. What could have been story. You have Cam Newton, Sam Bradford, Matthew Stafford, Jamarcus Russell, who I think is the biggest bust of all time, next to Ryan Leaf. Alex Smith was a pretty good quarterback when he was drafted by San Francisco. We know Eli Manning won Super Bowls. Carson Palmer had a pretty good career. David Carr, well, all he needed was protection is what he needed because he had none at all. and he's getting sacked up the, Wang. All right, so that's an interesting list there. Yeah, well, Jeremy knows what I'm talking about. What are your thoughts about that list? I don't know.
David Carr, actually, if you look at his numbers as far as completion percentage and stuff like that, he was a decent quarterback. He just had only one guy to throw to, one guy to give the ball on the ground to, and no offensive line. I mean,
Right.
I think the one year they said he was sacked 48 times, which at that point in a 16-game season was a record. And I believe that was his rookie year. And then he broke that record the next year at 54. So,
Right.
I mean, every year he got more sacked until he finally had to quit. And it was because if I didn't get out of football, I probably wouldn't be able to think straight.
Yeah, I feel bad for David Carr of any of them. Jamarcus Russell was an outright bust. He really, really was. It was awful. This guy. To me, it's sad when you see a guy like him. That's for sure. And Andrew Luck, you just feel bad because of what could have been. Okay, so all right.
Hey, I have a good thing about Andrew Luck for you too. He threw the ball into the end zone so many times that Eric Ebron actually caught 13 touchdowns one year. The only problem is he targeted them 39 times, and all of the other ones were drops.
Yeah, so, I don't have a whole lot of good things to say about Eric Ebron.
Nobody does.
Exactly. That's I was just trying to be nice about it. All right, who have I called on so far? Just you so far, Jeremy?
Just me.
Okay, go ahead, Mel. You're talking about this list.
So what exactly is your question about this list? Because I mean, I have my take is this.
Well, why don't you just give me your thoughts about this list and who stands out?
Well, what stands out to me, so this is from 2002, right? So every team, basically every team is trying to find a franchise quarterback, and they think that franchise quarterback is going to come in the first pick. How many of these guys ended up being the franchise quarterback that you named off? I don't know, maybe half the list. Maybe, I don't know. Jameis Winston was a franchise quarterback down there for a little while. What the list tells me is that the NFL is starving to try to find, and sometimes they reach in trying to find a franchise quarterback. Whether it be, I think that Bryce Young is on the smaller side to be a franchise quarterback. That's just my opinion. I like my guys to be a little bit bigger, a little bit sturdier, a little bit stronger, be able to see over the middle and be able to make those throws over the middle. Joe Burrow, I really didn't watch him a whole lot in college, and really had a negative opinion of him because he left Ohio State and went to LSU, but he's turned out to be a great pro. I mean, the guy can sling it with the best of them. Anybody on this list, he can definitely sling it with the best of them. But that's what really stands out to me when I look at that list is that, obviously, NFL teams are dying, are doing the best that they possibly can to try to find a franchise quarterback, and that franchise quarterback doesn't necessarily always come in the number one pick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what, Mel, you nailed it. I can't tell you how many times I've said, and I'll say it 9 million times over, okay, that you don't have to find your franchise quarterback in the first round, but everybody seems to go down that road. Joe Montana, didn't draft it in the first round. Tom Brady. I mean, those are just a couple. I don't want to get into all those. But and that's why I brought this topic in to begin with. I mean, all these first rounds are hit and miss. You're paying a lot of money. So we want to talk about smart businessman. Sam Bradford's the smartest businessman of them all because of all the money he got with his bonus money, and Matthew Stafford's done fine. But that's my point, Mel, when I bring up a topic like this, is all these first-round picks with the first pick, and how many of it turned out. I mean, so that's a good point, and that's why this topic was brought up. Andy?
But my question would be, if you did the same topic with any of the other positions, what is the hit or miss rate of taking the number one pick? And how many guys do pan out and how many don't?
32%. 32% of the number one pick overall work out. And that's the same for any first round pick 1 through 32. It's a 32% hit rate. So it has nothing to do if they're going to be good or not, because they were good in college. It's whether or not they go to the right program and the right coaching system.
Right.
Let's face it.
What does hit mean? I mean, they're Hall of Famer. What does hit mean?
Hit means were they able to be a franchise quarterback, period. You got guys that have been franchise quarterbacks and never won a Super Bowl, a.k.a. Dan Marino.
No, but you said it won't be 32. The 32 picks out of the first round draft picks.
It's a 32% hit rate, a 68% bust rate, all positions, period.
What is the hit? I mean, does that mean he's all pro, Pro Bowler? Does he make? He's a Hall of Famer.
Wait, they didn't wash out after 3 years. That's what it is.
Get a second contract.
Yeah, second contract with the same team. That's a franchise player. Once you get past your first contract, you're considered a franchise player. Doesn't matter the position.
So Micah Parsons is a bust.
He traded is different. He's got his second contract.
He didn't get it with the Cowboys.
That's because they traded him. There's a big difference there. I'm talking about team guys that stay in the same team and everything else. He's got a second contract. He didn't watch. Wait, Mel, average lifespan in the league is 3 years. He did made it past 3 years. He's not a bust.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, let's look at like Brock Purdy. I mean, Mr. Irrelevant, and yet would you say he was a franchise quarterback? I mean, so it just proves that you can find talent, whether it's the first pick or the last pick. It's just a matter of, like Jeremy was saying, right system, right coaches, right complement around you as well.
Well, I think one of the things about this topic that I want to mention is a lot of the players I mentioned were number one picks overall. Let's not lose sight of that.
Right.
And that's the thing. Number one picks overall. And that's how they turn out. Jamarcus Russell was absolutely horrible. Okay. He really was. I mean, look at all the, like I said, when you look at all these guys, Baker Mayfield just needed a couple of situations to figure out. I think Cleveland gave up on him too quick. Andrew Luck, unfortunately, was injury prone. And when you look at that list going forward with some of these other guys, Cam Newton, what do you really call him? He wasn't too bad because the guy ends up getting into the Super Bowl.
Wasn't too bad. He was an MVP.
No, I'm just saying, but I'm talking about these guys in general. MVP, I know. Alex Smith wasn't bad either. And the one I felt bad for is David Carr, who got killed. Yeah, I'll get back. I'll go ahead and look for the email, Michael. I will. If I haven't seen it yet, Candy will forward it to me to my other address. But we'll take care of that for you, buddy. So, I mean, all right, Ed, what are your thoughts about this list?
Got a couple thoughts. My first thought is Fernando Mendoza as a Raider with Kirk Cousins. They're two nicer guys at Raider Nation. That's all I'm going to leave at that. And then Andrew Luck coming back.
It's a kinder, gentler Raiders.
Yeah, well, that's true, but they're still Raider Nation. My actually biggest take is Trevor Lawrence. Because he came in 2021. He was 3-14, 9-8, 9-8, 4-13, and then 13-4 with 3 coaches. So he's had to change for his first handful of years, coaches and learning to be a pro and all that stuff. And in 25, he went 13-4. I think he's somebody to probably watch that he's kind of figured it out. Just saying.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on. Talk about Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy again. 2000. These two guys obviously have a history, as we've talked about time and time again. But 2006, Mike McCarthy becomes a head coach with Aaron Rodgers as his backup quarterback. And 20 years later, they're back again with Aaron Rodgers reunites with Mike McCarthy. What did they do together as a team? They won a Super Bowl together at 8 playoff appearances and 157-1 record. So let's face it, if Aaron Rodgers was going to come back to play for anybody, it was going to be him. Otherwise, it would have been Mike Tomlin. Let's just talk about how you think the reunion is going to work out this time around for these two guys. Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have waffled. He'd have been back.
Did you call it? Was that to me there, Scott? I couldn't know if you said Jeremy or me.
No, I'd say you, Ed.
Okay. I think it's going to be different. It's 20 years later. It's a different Aaron Rodgers. This is, to me, I think it's more of a farewell tour. He got, a coach that he spent a lot of years with. As we talked in an earlier segment, Pittsburgh needs to be broken down to the foundation. I really don't think they're going anywhere this year. So it's going to be kind of nice to watch. Everybody around the league will do something little, maybe for Aaron. Maybe 5. They get to. Well, you can't get. They'll maybe challenge for a wild card, but I don't really. I literally don't see them doing anything, and that's if Aaron can stay healthy. I mean, he is over 40, so he's going to be. I don't know.
Candy.
Aaron Rodgers is very, very smart. I think they both have a respect for each other that they maybe didn't have towards the end of their tenure together in Green Bay. But I think playing afterwards and having different coaches, you learn a different respect for a coach that you had success with for a while. And I think McCarthy has a respect for Rodgers staying in the league as long as he has. Maybe he hasn't been as successful as he would have liked, but I think with his smarts, with the respect that they have, and the knowledge that Aaron has, because Aaron does see the field really well. Aaron can lead receivers and stuff like that. So I think it'll be good for both sides. I think it's an easy, and I think if, like you said, Scott, if Tomlin was still there, I think Rodgers would be back. But I think any other coach, he would have retired.
Well,
But
number
those two.
one, Aaron Rodgers would have been back that fast with Tomlin. That's how much respect he had. McCarthy, obviously, I'm glad to see the two back for at least one more run. We'll see what happens, and hopefully, in that situation, you're talking about Rodgers. Well, I'm going to mentor these two young guys anyway. I'm a bridge quarterback, and it's okay. It's a farewell tour. He's okay with that role. He had a problem at the beginning with Jordan Love. He didn't want to mentor his successor, but this is a totally different animal, and he's fine with it. Okay, Mel.
Candy, that was a real cute Hollywood take that you had there. It was really nice, a Hollywood ending. If you want my honest opinion, I think it's going to be reality must-see TV. They got divorced for a reason, okay? Now they've been apart from each other. They're getting a little warm and fuzzies again, and they're going to try it again. And watch, it's going to blow up. There's a reason why they got divorced in the first place. How many couples divorce and then remarry? Not many. There's a reason, right? They got divorced for a reason. They left each other for a reason. They said bad things about one another. They had hard feelings toward one another. Okay, now they've been apart from one another a little bit. They got the warm and fuzzies now. But once they get into the heat of it and they're losing because they are an older team, it's not because Mike McCarthy doesn't know how to coach. It's not because Aaron Rodgers can't throw the football. On defense, they're long in the tooth. They don't have the right mixture of players as far as age is concerned. They just paid the linebacker a bunch of money, if I'm not mistaken, 4 years, $100 million, something like that. They just paid somebody a bunch of money. Again, on the defensive side of the ball, they don't have much on the offensive side of the ball. And then, the guys on defense they have are older. I believe it's going to be must-see reality TV. I think it's going to blow up in their face.
Okay. Jeremy?
It could be good, it could be bad, but I agree with Mel. Exes are exes for a reason. You don't get back together. It's kind of like going to the bathroom and trying to put it back in.
Okay, Jeremy. Why you just say you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube or something like that? I mean,
come on, man.
Hey,
that's great.
I didn't use a graphic. I didn't go visual at least.
Hey, Candy, I'm not big on the shorts, but you better find a short for that comment.
Clip it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm not big on this technical stuff, and I'll be the first to admit it to everybody, but I'm not. All right, we're going to go one more topic. We're going to take a station break in more ways than one because we have a new YouTube channel that we've launched. but we're going to talk about NFL games taking over the holidays. First of all, you got Thanksgiving Eve. Thanksgiving Eve. You got the Packers versus the Rams. Of course, we all know a lot of this probably for streaming purposes, but the Packers versus the Rams on Thanksgiving Eve. Thanksgiving Day, you obviously have the Bears and the Lions, the Eagles versus the Cowboys, the Chiefs versus the Bills on Thanksgiving Day. Black Friday, the Broncos versus, the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. And well, there you go. We got Christmas Eve, Texans versus the Eagles. Oh, my goodness, Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, you got the Packers against the Bears, Bills against the Broncos, the Rams versus the Seahawks. New Year's Eve, Ravens versus the Bengals. Valentine's Day, the Super Bowl. I never thought I'd say Valentine's Day in a million years. All right, Eddie, this is pretty interesting stuff. Valentine's Day?
Well, with the exception of Valentine's Day, I think the NFL's doing the right thing. Don't they have the most games over internationally this year as well?
We'll get to that another day. Don't worry about it.
Right. No. But I'm just saying, you've got your contained audience at the holidays,
right?
And who doesn't like watching football, like when it was just on Thanksgiving?
Exactly.
I mean, and stuff. So what they've done is they've said, hey, we could probably get more Black Friday. All the husbands or all the partners are sitting at home. They were watching football. I think it's a brilliant move. They could probably charge premium for the ad space. Good business move by the NFL.
I like to comment in the chat room. Valentine's is a phony holiday. That's true. That's only a card holiday. RM Digital, you just hit a bullseye with that comment. I like it. But yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time about the international games, Ed, because we will be talking about that. Probably.
Right. No.
No, but I think it's interesting how you have all these eves on top of the holidays. That's the only reason I brought this up. Okay, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving Eve. Now, that's the first one for me. Thanksgiving Eve. I mean, give me a break. I can't tell you.
You forgot one. Black Friday.
Yeah, that one too. I never even remember that on Black Friday. Yeah, that one's surreal. That's always the day I used to go back and return all the gifts I had, or just try to get bargains. Black Friday football. I'm a little too old to understand the logistics of it, but yeah. With all due respect, it's just amazing all the different Eves, Black Fridays, and you have Valentine's Day because the Super Bowl has to lump in. Then they're all rolled into one. Okay, Candy.
The NFL is a business. And I think sometimes we forget that as a business, they're going to try and get the most bang for their buck, get the most viewership, get the most money they can. So yes, are they going to play on holidays? Of course, they have the most captive audience.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are off, have vacation days, they're free. And so the NFL wants them to grab them and get them watching their program, their football, or going to those games, so spreading it out like they do instead of having everybody play Sunday at 1 and Sunday at 4, spreading it out. Oh, let's play a Wednesday night game. Let's play Thursday. Let's play Black Friday. Let's play Sunday. So now you've got all kinds of days that you're stringing together. And your audience can be bigger because you're not, putting how many 3, 4, 5 games up against each other on a Sunday that you can't watch all of them at the same time. So I think it's a brilliant move from NFL. Whether other people agree, because like Christmas Day had always been NBA, but for the NFL, I think it's a great great business move.
Well, let's not face ourselves. The NFL prints money anyway. This is a matter of time. I'm glad that the NFL got involved in the Christmas business. I'm not watching the NBA to begin with. But, so I was okay with that. I mean, but as far as, all the NFL does, people, they just print money. That's it. If there's a way to make money, they'll do it. And maybe we'll have Cyber Monday. That's pretty good. I like that one. All right, Mel.
Yeah, this country has an insatiable appetite for football. The NFL realizes it. ESPN realizes it. That's why they have formed a monopoly on college football. One time, baseball was the greatest pastime, was America's favorite sport at one particular time. I don't know exactly when that changed, but it definitely changed. And now football is everything. I mean, all year long, we've talked about it before. The NFL does a great job in marketing their product. And what better way to continue to market that product or to feed the frenzy is to give them what they want during the holidays. They know that people are going to be home. They know people are going to be sitting around the television. They're going to be watching college football anyway. So why not sprinkle in a little bit of NFL football as well? Now we know Goodell is supposed to be going in front of Congress. Congress summoned him to come speak about the television rights and all that kind of stuff because of the sports. They think there might be some violation of the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. We know television has changed from what it was back then in 1961 to what it is right now. We know this is, I believe, it's much ado about nothing. They're all a part of the same. They're all a part of this on the same team. They're just bringing them in here to appease some folks to say, yeah, we're watching you, Roger Goodell. But the NFL is going to continue to do what they want to do because they are huge and they have lobbyists as well. They have lobbyists up there in those congressional halls to make sure that they're able to continue to do what they've been able to do, which is continue to make all these very wealthy individuals more money.
Right. I mean, there's so many holidays that don't make sense. I hear you, Yinzer.
Yeah, look at this guy. He says, I didn't know there was a National Siblings Day until last year. That was funny. Yeah, some of these comments in the chat room are outright hilarious. I love them. National Siblings Day.
I didn't know that the 29th of May was National Hamburger Day till I heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Jeremy, let's just talk about in general here all these different holidays. Doesn't blow you away or what?
Every year it's like they add 10 more.
Right,
And next thing you know, we're not going to have a normal day, but they're not federal holidays, so nobody gets the day off. So who gives a what?
Sam's Club said today was National Rotisserie Chicken Day.
There you go.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the NFL can't get a piece of the Mother's Day and Father's Day action now. But if they could, they would. All right, Candy, go to a station break. We have a double whammy here. As we go out there, we've introduced a new YouTube channel. Candy, come over, the new YouTube channel and currently what we're doing now. Thank you.
Let's start with the South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the media and how it has evolved, old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. The audiobook is also out there. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, including Mr. Smokin' Jeremy B. writes for us, too. So go check that out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel. Please do so and turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. If you have not yet subscribed to the South Florida Tribune's YouTube channel, here is a QR code for the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Now, we just launched, and when I say just launched, today is the first day we have launched Destination Discovery channel. Let me get Destination Discoveries Media Network. It is on YouTube. Here is that QR code for that channel. So if you have not yet subscribed to it, the QR code in the upper corner, that is for our new channel. We literally just put up videos today. We will be putting up a bunch more, but that is our new travel YouTube channel where we're going to be putting up all things travel. We went on a cruise this past year and the year previous. We will be putting up videos from there. We are going to use one of the holidays that's coming up, which is Juneteenth Day, and I get a 3-day weekend. We are going to be taking our microphone down to Key West, and we will be doing some videos down there. So make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. and watch for updates. Back to you, Scott.
I want to give a special shout out to Bo Crouch, who obviously it was his idea to start the second YouTube channel. And Bo said, you know what, you have a niche there. You might as well go ahead and roll with it. So hope everybody will enjoy that channel. We certainly enjoyed doing what we're doing with Southport Tribune. And we're going to continue to do that. But now it's an opportunity for all and, you know, new restaurant reviews, and as well as do a lot of different things, whether it's overseas, Bahamas, whatever. And it's just something new, and why not? I mean, life is too short, and go from there. So I promised this week we would do a variable topic outside of football, and I am true to what I'm going to do. So today's variable topic is in the rookie contract. Cooper Flanagan will earn more in a single game. Get this. Than Paige Beckers will earn in an entire season. And we're talking about the rookie year, $191,000 for Cooper Flanagan a game, where Paige Beckers gets $87,000. Cooper Flanagan, obviously, who was the number one pick in the draft, signed a 4-year, $62.7 million rookie deal, while Beckers, the number one pick in the 2025 draft, signed a 4-year, $348,000 deal with the Dallas Wings. Now, get this. Here's another interesting number for Miss Beckers, okay? She's the first player in WNBA history with 60 points and 30 assists through her first 50 games. I like this topic because Candy and I had an opportunity to go ahead and see Paige over the Final Four in Tampa. So what are your thoughts about the differences between Cooper Flanagan and Paige Beckers, Ed?
Differences in their salaries, or it comes back to the almighty dollar. It's unfortunate. You know, there's more money in the NBA, even though the NBA does support the WNBA.
Right.
It's still starting to come around. You know, I think with the Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, Easy Bud, and some of the other ones that have, you know, it's starting to gain more attention. You can see from the last collective bargaining agreement that they're getting more money now and so on. And it'll grow. The sad fact of the matter, or the realistic fact of the matter, is that it will never be at the level of the NBA. It's not going to generate that kind of revenue. And unless the NBA backfills it.
Yeah. I just found it amazing how one guy could get paid so much more money per game for this young lady, obviously, for a season. But obviously, that's going to change a little bit now with the new CBA.
He's making more than I make in a year. So
yeah, no, I know.
You know, I'm sitting here going, okay, that's, you know, I would take that per game.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing, though. Paige Beckers is a good young player. She really is for the Dallas Wings, and they have a good foundational player. Katie and I saw her firsthand at the Final Four. She's such a special young talent. She really is. And obviously, we know what Cooper Flanagan means to the Dallas Mavericks. So, Candy, some thoughts about comparing Cooper Flanagan and Paige Beckers?
The NBA generates roughly 10 to 12 billion in annual revenue compared to the WNBA's 200 to 250 million. The other thing is that the NBA guarantees players 49 to 51% of basketball-related income, whereas the WNBA players receive less than 10% of the league's revenue. Now, speaking of that, the WNBA has historically operated at a financial loss and relies on subsidies from the NBA and private investors. Obviously, men's sports predominantly are more watched, more viewers, more attended. You're going to see this. And until that changes, the salaries aren't going to be comparable.
Yeah, I still blows my mind, though. Cooper's getting $191,000 a game, and she was getting $87,000 per season. But again, obviously, you're comparing and contrasting the two leagues. Mel?
Yeah, you're comparing apples to oranges. I mean, the NBA has been around for a very, very long time, and it took a long time for them to get their footing in in their market and develop that market that they developed. It's been over years. There was a time where the NBA was in trouble, and they say Magic and Larry Bird saved the NBA. You know, when they came in the league in the late 70s, early 80s. You know what they've been trying to do, and I enjoy watching the ladies play. To be honest with you, because they play more. Right. They play more like the basketball that I grew up accustomed to watching, where, you know, the referees kind of swallow the whistles a little bit. They allow them to be physical. I don't like to see a Congo line to the free throw stripe. I don't like that. I don't like when a guy, every time he shoots a jump shot, he flops, he falls down. That's not the basketball that I'm accustomed to playing. I'm accustomed to watching. And the basketball that I'm accustomed to watching, the guy goes in the lane and almost gets his head taken off. And, you know, as long as there's no blood or anything like that, you know, there's no foul called. So I really do enjoy watching it. Now, you know, the WNBA came along. I mean, they tried this before, it didn't work, and now they brought it back. And you know, because a lot of these women, there are a lot of good women basketball players that deserve the opportunity to play basketball here in the United States, as opposed to having to go to overseas and make their living. And a lot of them, you know, with the new collective bargaining agreement, a lot of these women were playing here and still playing overseas as well, just so they could make a living. The fact that they're able to make a living now here in the United States, and where they don't have to go overseas, I think is great. The league is going to continue to grow. Now, again, no, you're comparing apples to oranges. You know, they play 44 games. The NBA plays 82 games. Right. You know, they're high flying. The NBA is high flying, fast paced. We're not high flying yet. Now they'll get there. They'll get to the point where there'll be a few more women that can throw it down, but it's not there yet. And I'm okay with it, because I like the brand of basketball. Yes. With you, inside, outside, what I'm used to. Yep. Working it in the post, swinging it around. I like their brand of basketball, the brand of basketball that they bring. I enjoy watching it. I really do. But you know, again, you're comparing oranges to apples.
You know what? I'm gonna say something, Diego Pavia. I'm gonna start calling you him. Stick it to me. Let me say something, Mel. I have never, and swear, seen you just more passionate and fired up about a topic like this. I'll tell you, how was that energy on a scale of 1 to 10 with this topic was far? I'm going to give this guy a 10. I loved it. Mel, that's unbelievable.
I have 5 girls. I have 5 daughters, so I have to be passionate about it.
There you go. Absolutely. He's a girl dad. There you go. Okay. Yeah, a girl dad.
Oh, well, then if that's the case, you know what I'm going to do?
Yes.
I'm going to bring on a topic with Audie Crooks on here on this show here, since she got 5 daughters. Wait till I bring her on in the coming weeks. Audie Crooks. Oh, that girl's a story. Jacob Crispin made her famous. But I love the passionate Mel, Jeremy, brought when it came to this topic. Okay, Jeremy, go ahead.
Until the WNBA has the same level of sponsorship that the NBA has, they have no room to talk about the difference in price, in pay. 10%. They make 10% or less than the NBA. So Cooper Flagg getting $191,000 for a game, her getting $85,000 for a year.
Yeah.
Compare that to 3 years ago, she'd have been getting $40,000.
Yeah, exactly.
They get paid more than that now.
Her new contract is $85,900 and some odd dollars and change.
No, they get paid more than that now, don't they?
I thought he just said $191,000 because Cooper. That's the amount that.
That's the amount that Cooper Flagg gets per game. Paige Beckers gets $85,000 a year, a season. Correct?
No, they get more than that. They get more than that now.
Yeah, I thought it was more than that.
They get more than that now.
I thought so too.
Following the league's new collective bargaining agreement, she will earn a base salary of $499,200 for her second season in 2026, with a cap hit of $500,000.
That's good for 44
where
games.
Did you bring up the?
Yeah, it is
up like 8,000 or whatever.
That's what they made. That's what they made last year. Last year she made $78,000.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is good money for 44 games. I
could
live off that.
Well, let's face the reality. A lot of these ladies
that's good money coming out of college, straight out of college. That's good money. And I know she took a severe pay cut from when she was in college. I'm sure she took a big time haircut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, a lot of these
No.
ladies too. Keep in mind they earn endorsement deals too, but but it was just interesting comparing their first year salaries between Cooper and Page by any sense. Let's continue on back to
You were
football.
comparing their first year salaries. I got it.
Couch
So he
Boy Rick.
Yeah.
Rick signed a 3-year rookie
Okay.
contract at $247,680,
Okay.
$82,563.
They ripped that up. They got a new CBA.
Yeah.
That's ripped up.
New CBA.
Yeah, that's
Right.
ripped up. That contract's null and void.
Yep.
There you go. All right, back to football. Manny Diaz compares Darian Mansell leaving Duke to Kevin Durant leaving the Thunder. Well, I can't disagree with that. I mean, that's a huge transfer. I mean, Kevin Durant, when he left the Thunder, that was big news at the time. Some thoughts, Ed?
You know what? I'm gonna have to pass on this one because I'm not really familiar with it. It sounds
That's
like
fine.
if it's compared to Kevin Durant leaving, it can't be a good thing.
Okay, no, fair enough. Okay, Candy, go ahead.
Yeah, he left them to go to. He left Manny Diaz, the old Miami coach, to come down here to Miami. I can see where. I mean, I don't know because we haven't seen him play this year yet, but I can see if he had such an influence on him last year that it would be a big loss. But with NIL money, you're going to see that more and more
Yeah,
because they're going to go to the team that's going to pay them, and that he will get playing time to get recognized because his ultimate goal as a player is to get into the NFL. So what team is going to get him there? What team is going to expose him the most, give him the most weapons to make him look good to get that next contract in the NFL?
And Mario Cristobal, we trust. That's how he made the move.
He's a good recruiter.
Yeah. Now
It's easy to recruit when you have the biggest bank. You got the biggest bag. It's easy to recruit when you got the bag.
Yep.
What did Manny Diaz say something about the player? What was it? I missed it. Did he say something about him in negative or positive?
He said it's like what's his name leaving? KD Durant leaving OKC.
Yeah, it was a huge loss.
He said it felt like it was a big loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
He needs to get used to it. I mean, he's going to continue to coach up players, get them ready for the bigger schools until Duke is able to do something on the big stage. This is going to continue to happen to these smaller schools.
Yeah.
They're going to get players. They're going to recruit 3-star players, and they're going to become a blue chip type commodity. Where one of these big schools or one of these blue bloods in college football is going to go out there and they're going to offer them the bag, and these kids are going to bolt. This is going to continue to happen. That's one of the problems that I see with this NIL, whether it be at the FCS level, the football, the FCS level rather, where you're going to have a lot of poaching going on. It's going to take a strong-willed individual who went to school for a particular reason to stay at the school that recruited him. Most of these kids are now going to go to multiple schools before they graduate.
Jeremy?
He's absolutely right. It is going to keep haunting these schools that don't participate in big NIL, especially in football. Duke is one of those ones that haven't done a lot with the NIL. So this kid leaving, who was supposed to be the future of their college career for Manny Diaz, it is similar to when KD left from OKC. Let's face it, he's upset. I get it.
Okay. Well, tell you what, let's move on. Yeah, I understand the comparison. I really, really, really do. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, you go from Duke all the way to Miami. Miami's printing money. And Manny Diaz and Miami have a rivalry to begin with because he used to coach the Hurricanes and Mario Cristobal.
Is that AI right there? It's got Luke on there instead of Duke?
Yeah, it's AI. They make spelling errors, but it's the right picture.
Yeah, they do.
All right, let's continue on here because there are 5 teams right now that when you look that were deemed so irrelevant that there is not a single primetime game on their schedule. You have the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Titans, the Jets, and the Cardinals. there you go, Eddie. You ain't seeing them unless you got unless you have the NFL package because they're not going to be on prime time.
Yeah, well, if you're not drawing, it's they want people watching, and it surprises me just a tad that the Raiders aren't, with Fernando going to them just to kind of give them at least one, so the country can see the first pick overall. Other than that, I mean, again, Candy said it best. The NFL is a business. Period. End of sentence.
Right.
It's they're putting a product on the TV, on the field, and they don't want people walking away from the TV set. They want to put them down there. And if you put somebody on that's not putting a good product, a team that's not putting a good product. I mean, we had the Redskins, the Commanders, Redskins, and we've had that situation too through the past 20 plus years where we didn't get the good games. So win games, get the good games.
The NFL showcases the talent and the teams that get good results. It's happened to every team in the league. Some teams way more than other teams, but that's because of the product on the field. So if you don't have good results previous years, you're not going to get the primetime games unless they would flex a game. That would be the only way. But and teams that they don't necessarily predict will do well and haven't done well, they're not going to give them the primetime because that, like we said before, it's a business. You're gonna compete on primetime. You're not competing, so they want to put the really good games so that people that want to watch exciting football are watching football and not something else.
No,
that was a complaint a couple years ago about the Thursday games, that they weren't good games on Amazon the first year. I think that Amazon took them.
Okay, Mel.
Yeah, the NFL wants to put on compelling television. They want to put on something that people will watch. I am kind of surprised. I am surprised, and I think it may go back to some bad feelings that the league has towards the Raiders. I am a little surprised that they do not have Mendoza on at least one game so that people can see the number one overall pick. That is a little bit surprising to me. And again, I think that might be rooted in some things way back yonder where they're still harboring bad feelings towards Al Davis. But yeah, the NFL, and Candy brought it up. She made a great point. I mean, there were some games on Thursday night that were just embarrassing. I mean, that nobody would tune into. And so they want to make sure that they put on, if they're going to have a national televised game, they want to make sure that they're going to be compelling matchups that people actually want to watch.
Jeremy?
The Amazon games that had been going on, not this past year. The past year it was pretty good. But the prior ones, they were awful. I think we were 6 weeks in when Al Michaels looked at who was with him at the time, because that guy left, and then Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Collinsworth. Yeah, he looked at him. He goes, "If we have one more game where less than 20 points is scored combined between the two teams, I'm going to retire."
Wow.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
I mean,
mind
he
a
literally
football
said
game
that live on the air in the middle of the fourth quarter, talking about he was going to retire. And then lo and behold, that was the game that it was the Raiders, and they had that big comeback, and they scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. He goes, "Looks like your career's safe, Al." And it was after that season they picked up Kirk Herbstreit.
Pretty funny. Really. Well, all I can say is Malik Willis.
They moved, right? Al Michaels, because that was on the Sunday. Was that a Sunday night game? Because they moved. Al Michaels stopped doing the Sunday night game.
That was on Amazon his first year. They were together the first year, and after that, Chris Collinsworth went on, and Kirk Herbstreit took over in year 2.
Okay, I don't remember Collinsworth being on there, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, all I can say is Malik Willis and the Miami Dolphins are definitely not prime time, that's for sure. But I'll tell you one guy that thinks that Jim Brown's number 32 should be retired, and that's Bill Belichick, because he says it'd be a great move for the NFL like baseball, as they did with Jackie Robinson. Let's make this one rapid fire. I definitely believe that Belichick is on to something, that this should be a universally retired Jim Brown. Obviously, is one, but then if you do that, are there other ones that could be? But Jim Brown, I would say yes. Let's make this rapid fire. We'll turn over to you, Ed.
Absolutely. No doubt. It should be just, I equate that to Jackie Robinson's 44. The NFL should do similar things that baseball does for Jackie Robinson.
Okay, Candy?
I agree. Well, I think you're going to find a lot of numbers then would get retired, but I agree. He had 12,312 career rushing yards besides everything else he did. I agree.
Mel, rapid fire.
I think Bill Belichick was talking this to hear himself talk. In this political climate, it will never happen. We know that. There's a lot of great 32s. Jim Brown, OJ, Franco, Otis Anderson. I mean, there's running backs were 32. I mean, that's just like quarterbacks were number 12 or number 11 back in the day. Would it be a great gesture? Yeah, it would be a great gesture. I mean, because obviously, that's, as a running back, he's one of my idols without question.
Jeremy?
I would say yes, but there's been a lot of great running backs at 32, as Mel said, and I understand it being league wide. But 32 is also defensive backs, but there hasn't been as many great number 32 defensive backs. Whereas if you look at 20, you can actually see about 40 players that wore 20 other than Billy Sims and Barry Sanders that are in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, let's continue on. The Browns obviously were doing their due diligence on quarterback Brendan Sorsby. And obviously, Jeremy, you said that he was going to be in the supplemental draft. Well, today there's been an update on that because according to JPA Football, one of my reliable football sources, Browns head coach Todd Monken on Texas Tech QB Brendan Sorsby, from my end of it, kind of a tough angle to go down that road and think he's going to be your franchise if he's ever going to be eligible to play in the NFL. I think Todd Monken is 100% right on this, but I know there was talk about the supplemental draft and the Browns being interested. Jeremy, I'll let you go ahead and take the lead on this one.
Well, all I know is that with him not being able to come back for a sixth year into college, they said he was going to be added to the supplemental draft this year, which is coming up. When is that? July, I believe it is, just before training camp kick in.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I think it is.
I'm not saying he's going to be drafted. I'm just saying he's going to be there if some team is like looking at their quarterback room saying, hey, we could use a third, or we don't have a good backup. He's somebody to grab.
Yeah, I think he should go to the Canadian Football League and just go away, because this guy here has got I don't know what the Canadian dollar's worth, but I think he needs to go to the Canadian Football League. And UFL is just about to complete their season, but we'll see. But Todd Monken does make some really good points. You know, if he'll even be eligible to get in the NFL. And obviously the supplemental draft, and he's run out of, and he can't get back to college football. Mel?
I don't know why people are talking about this kid. I mean, he broke the rules. You cannot gamble. You cannot bet. You cannot bet on football. Back when I played, you couldn't even go to Vegas or Atlantic City when I played, let alone just place bets. I mean, you couldn't go to those. You couldn't go there. You couldn't go in the state of Nevada. You couldn't go to Atlantic City. You couldn't do that. So he made a mistake. It's a heavy price to pay, but that's the price that he's going to have to pay. He should never play football again. It shouldn't even be a conversation. I mean, if he's allowed to play football, then you've opened this up for you. You're opening up a can of worms or a Pandora's box that I really don't think you want to deal with. Unfortunately, he made a bad decision. But again, not everybody goes pro playing professional football. He'll learn a lesson. No, he may get an opportunity to play in the UFL rather. He may get an opportunity to play in Canadian football. But as far as the NFL is concerned, I mean, I know his attorneys are rushing for an answer so that he can be a part of the supplemental draft. I mean, he should not be eligible for the supplemental draft. Just period, point blank.
And you know what? I agree with you yet again. This guy should be banned from the NFL. And obviously college football doesn't want him either. So you got United Football League or you have the Canadian Football League. Candy?
do we set rules so that they will be broken, or do we set rules for a reason? And if we're going to set rules, we need to make sure that we're enforcing those rules. He broke the rules. He should suffer the consequences.
Right.
He is in the league he was in. Let's face it, he was not in the pros yet when this happened. So he learned it as a kid in college. That's my point.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Take a chance. I mean, if I'm an owner, why would I take a chance? If I'm an owner,
Right.
I can't trust him. And he's supposed to be the face of your franchise. Now, it'd be different if he was a positional player, some other, offensive lineman maybe, or something like that.
Wait. You're confusing which draft we're talking about. We're not talking about the first round of the regular draft. The supplemental draft where you fill your practice squad in because you don't have enough players. We're not talking about that.
Next year, you're gonna lose that pick in the upcoming draft. So it is draft capital. It's actual draft capital that you'll be utilizing on a player. So it's not like it's just an extra draft pick. That's not what it is. It's just an extra draft for players for whatever reason were found to be ineligible, and now they want to apply for the NFL draft, but they missed the draft. But no, I wouldn't. He shouldn't be allowed to play.
I like the conversation back and forth. Ed, you got the last word. I got 2 topics in Jeremy's segment, and I intend to get through every one of them. Go ahead, Ed. You have the last word.
Mel said it best. I agree 100%. He broke the rules. It's unfortunate. It's bad, but he's got to Candy's point, why do we have rules if we're not going to enforce them? And if you do, you open up Pandora's box, period. Yeah, I mean, and with all the gambling, like you see the gambling, it's prevalent. So you have to be hard. The players can't bet. It then it becomes a trust issue then, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of talking about it. Anyways, it's the only time you're going to hear about it on Inside the Picks again. All right, the Miami Hurricane. You talk about a Miami wide receiver, JoJo Trader has actually committed to North Carolina State. He was ranked as a top 25 recruit in the 2024 On3 industry ranking. So Dave Doran's going to get a player from the Miami Hurricanes. We'll see whether or not, Jeremy, this guy can help the Wolfpack.
JoJo Trader, right?
Correct.
He looked like he was good where he was at, but do they have a good quarterback with the Wolfpack is another story. Will he be able to get him the ball? Will the line be able to protect that quarterback the same where he was so his routes can develop? Because from what I understand, he was a speedy receiver. They had good yak ability, but he also could stretch the field. So it really depends on if all of that works with the Wolfpack.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Doran comes up with a quarterback there. I know when I saw the get stomped by the Canes, obviously the guy was in a bad mood, but it's too bad. Now we'll see what this guy could go to a much lesser program for sure. But yeah, hey, he's going to NC State. He'll get an opportunity to play under Dave Doran. We'll go from there. Mel?
Yeah, so give me the background. What's the story with this kid? He's played 2 years at Miami and he left. He's gone to NC State. Well, what's the backstory? He had 13 receptions last year. He had 6 the year before that. So I mean, why are we talking about this guy?
Why?
No, I'm just asking. I mean, what are we
talking
about?
Why? Okay. I'll tell you why. Okay. Number one, it'll be interesting to see how a guy who obviously isn't good enough, okay, to play at Miami can even show any kind of potential himself over at NC State.
Well, I wouldn't say he's not good enough. Well, he's still going to be in the ACC. He's going. I wouldn't say he's not good enough. I mean, was he hurt? I mean, I'm trying to get the backstory on what's the backstory on the guy. I'm not saying he's not good enough.
I know. I'm just convincing with you, Mel. All right, Candy, you have a backstory for him?
So NC State underwent an offensive makeover of sorts during the transfer portal window. So with star quarterback CJ Bailey committed to return to the program, enter wide receiver JoJo Trader, a transfer from Miami, who held a long-standing relationship with Bailey long before their college careers. Trader and Bailey played high school football together at Shamarad Madonna Prep in the Miami metropolitan area era, even winning a state championship as teammates. So that's kind of the backstory.
Yeah, I like the backstory there. So you got the quarterback and the wide receiver played. Otherwise, who the heck wants to play for that Sixtham head Doran anyway? It took a quarterback and a wide receiver to get him to go to Raleigh. Although I got to tell you right now, speaking of Raleigh, the Vegas Golden Knights 4, Carolina Panthers 3, 15:07 left in the third period.
Oh, wow.
If you're a hockey fan. So yeah, Raleigh's in the news for the right reasons for hockey. But here, yeah, obviously a quarterback and a wide receiver latching up to go to Raleigh. All right. So
look, he was a 4-star. Looks like he's a 4-star prospect coming out of high school. He's a 3-star prospect in the transfer portal. Things didn't work out for him in Miami. He looks the part. You know, he's 6'1", 190. I don't know what kind of speed the guy has, but he looks the part. It looks, you know, he's going to look good getting off the bus. He's going to look good in his uniform. Look the part. Now, can he be the part? You know, we'll see. He had an opportunity there. Now they had that one dynamic guy, the guy I know that you love. They had that one dynamic guy down there in Miami. I can't think of his name. The freshman they had last year. No, is he something?
Malachi Tony.
Is he a fraction of Malachi Tony? You know, I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, sometimes the change of scenery, you know, helps some players, and sometimes it doesn't. So we'll just have to watch and see.
So let it also be known that there were 20 transfers who joined North Carolina, and Trader joined 2 of his Miami teammates in transferring, as linebacker Popo Aguirre and fellow wideout Chance Robinson both opted for a fresh start as part of the Wolfpack as well.
All right, so they got 2 other Miami players in this guy. All right, we'll see how it plays out. Let's start. Anybody else want to comment on this?
I'll just say, I'll say Candy stole my comment about the quarterback, about his buddy quarterback. But I think, you know, every once in a while you need a fresh start, and I think if you're going to go get a fresh start, go play with the guy who threw you the ball for a state championship. See if you can do it at the college level.
Oh, all right, we'll see how this guy plays out in Miami over at NC State, as well as the other 2 transfers. All right, one more thing I want to get to. Jeremy's segment coming up after that. We have to put out a rest in peace for Craig Morton, 1943 to 2026, size at the age of 83. He guided the Denver Broncos to their first Super Bowl, and he played 6 seasons with the Broncos. Let's face the reality, Craig Morton was a heck of a player. I think he also played for the Cowboys and was runner-up there, if I recall correctly. Rest in peace, Craig Morton. You're certainly a quarterback that doesn't get recognized a lot. And keep in mind, when people think of Denver Broncos, they think of John Elway, but they don't think of Craig Morton. Rest in peace. Jeremy, some thoughts on Craig Morton?
Considering I don't know much about him, I'm going to say my condolences to him, his family, and his friends that probably miss him greatly, and to his fans. My heartfelt prayers all go out to you.
Great stuff, Jeremy. That's fine. Condolences always work. Mel?
Yeah, I didn't realize he passed. I saw his name on there. I didn't realize he had passed away, but, you know, that was the original number 7 for the Broncos. I mean, you know, Craig Morton, you know, he played some great football, born up there in Flint, Michigan. You know, the NFL's lost another one, you know, another great one. He was a good football player. There's no question about it. You know, rest in peace.
Yeah, I think he played for Dallas. Candy, do you have some more particulars on Craig?
He played for Dallas from 65 to 73, the Giants from 74 to 76, and Denver from 77 to 82. He was a Super Bowl champion. In 77, he was NFL Comeback Player of the Year, and he was AFC Offensive Player of the Year. He is in the Denver Broncos Ring of Fame. He passed for 27,908 yards, passer rating of 73.5. He had 12 rushing touchdowns, and he completed 54.2% of his completion percentage. He was selected by the Cowboys 5th overall in the 1965 draft. And he was the first quarterback to start in the Super Bowl with more than one franchise, as well as the only quarterback to start for multiple franchises in their Super Bowl debut. And he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1992.
Rest in peace, Craig. All right, add some thoughts.
I remember growing up watching him play. For the Broncos back in that late '70s, early '80s era. That was back with the Orange Crush defense. All they can say, I think Jeremy said it best. My condolences to his family and friends who knew him best, and he's in a better place now, fully healed. Watching down on all of us. Rest in peace, Greg.
Okay, turn it over to Jeremy. Close it out. You have a segment?
I started. Oh, my segment. Okay. Yeah, the Tigers. Look at what happened this past week. We got some players back into the lineup, and lo and behold, it's Kerry Carpenter and Gleyber Torres, which allows Haikun Lee to go back to be DFA'd to Toledo. Thank God, because his batting average was abysmal. And we beat the third best team in Major League Baseball 2 games in a row now by blanking them 8-0 tonight with Jeff Flaherty as the starter.
God, yeah. Flaherty's had a tough year, but the fact is the Tigers' bats have awoken. You add Gleyber Torres and Kerry Carpenter to the mix. So when you have a team that they've got a lot of work to do, but you scored a lot of runs over at Tropicana Field for sure. All right, well, that does it for Inside the Picture, but we're not quite done yet. Jeremy, you let everybody know how they get a hold of yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say what I say at the end of Fire Up. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. But you can find me right here every Tuesday on Inside the Pigskin, every Thursday on Fire Up on the South Florida Tribune channel. And then you can find me 6 days a week on my channel, which is the KCB Sports Network. And you can find my writings about the Lions and whatever other sport I decide to throw in on the South Florida Tribune underneath the Motor City Tribune heading.
Okay, go ahead, Mel.
Follow me on all the social media at Mel Farr Jr. Follow what we have going on for the youth when we get going again at Mel Farr Superstarfoundation.org.
Okay, you guys on with me on Thursday night. It's on Tuesday night. Also, I'll let everybody else know how to get a hold of you, Eddie.
Yeah, as Scott said, I'm here 2 nights a week. You can also get me on Facebook, Ed McAndrew, LinkedIn, Ed McAndrew, and Instagram, Sub60Ed.
All right, Candy, Station Break Plus.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning in the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders, written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the business and how media has changed over those 40 years. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of great content. His book is also in audio format. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to the South Florida Tribune's YouTube channel. Please do so. And then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. We also have a new station YouTube channel, Destination Discoveries Media Network is the full name. I will put up, this is the QR code for our new YouTube channel. Please go ahead and subscribe to it. We will be talking all things travel, whether it be we go out and review someplace that we eat here in Florida, since we know a lot of people will visit and travel to Florida. But as we go on our travels, we will also put up videos of where we're going, different reviews there. So we will be headed to Key West in a couple of weeks. We will put up lots of videos for that. We will be putting up videos from our previous 2 cruises where we have seen lots of different countries. We were in London. We were in Spain. We were in Portugal, we were in Norway, Iceland, Germany, France, Netherlands, Holland, Belgium. There'll be all those videos going up. So go check out our channel. But this is the QR code for South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. So please subscribe to both of them. Back to you, Scott.
Well, that does it for this edition of Inside the Pigskin. We have a doubleheader tomorrow. First of all, starting off with the Motor City Madmouth Show. Have a lot of great topics lined up, and it's followed by the Sports Exchange. great job by this group. We had a lot of ground to cover, and this group did an outstanding job as they do week in and week out covering all this material. Don't worry, I'll have plenty more hay for us for more to say next week. So stay around. I like talking pro and college football. It just so happens in this particular situation, though, since we got it buried last year with a lot of college turnaround, it's interesting when you look this time of the year about what potentially could be happening, because you're going to start having media days in the coming weeks with all the different conferences and the coaches available. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about some of these coaches will be at the podium probably for the last time if they can't get their programs on track. And I think this is the appropriate night to do it during this time of the year. So once again, on behalf of Eric McAndrew, Candy Ebling, Mel Farr Jr., and my co-host Jeremy Ballrick, my name is Scott Morgan, Oklahoma City Manual. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Inside the Pigskin. We will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program for us. God bless, and we'll see you next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Bye now.